Quo versus Google Voice. We're gonna go in depth today so that by the end of this video, you will have a clear sense of which tool is perfect for you. And at the very start, you gotta know that these two tools are not competing for the same customer. And once you see the differences, you will know exactly which tool is right for you. We are gonna cover all the core features, what's important in modern business, and the AI and automations that you need with your phone in today's world. As we get started, I do have a few resources for you down below. The first one is what you see on my screen right here. This is a custom table that I built to produce this video, comparing everything with Quo and Google Voice. We're gonna cover most of it in the video, but if you wanna review it or take a look at it on your own, you'll see that in the link down below. And if you do decide to get started with either tool, I will have a link for you to get started in the description down below. Plus, I do have an extra 10% off your first 3 months when you get started with Quo. And yes, this video is sponsored by Quo, but all the opinions in this video are mine, and my goal is to help you make the best decision for the right tool for your needs. Now, if this was 20 years ago, we would be talking about connectivity, nationwide coverage, and details like that. But in today's world, when we're talking about a VoIP phone system like what Google Voice and Quo offer, we really need to focus in on how do you generate revenue, value, and have a line for your business or for your needs that you can use at any time. And so when we take a look here at the primary audience, Quo is built for any team where calls equal revenue, whether that's direct or indirect. When it comes to Google Voice, this is one of the best parts and one of the worst parts about it. You need to use the Google Workspace as your core account for this to work. So that means your business email needs to be linked up with Google for this entire setup to even be a consideration. Therefore, the primary audience really isn't an average user or a business, it's someone who uses a Google Workspace. So from the beginning, if you're not using a Google Workspace, then this is not the right solution for you. And that's one thing that's really important to note from the beginning. Quo is built to be an incredible world-class phone system. Google Voice is built to be a great add-on to a Google Workspace. There's a major difference between that. One is designed to add as much value as it can to your company, Quo, where Google Voice is just trying to offer something to bundle you in faster or easier. And we're gonna see that when we really break down the core communication features that both tools offer. But the next thing we gotta talk about in this initial stage is scale. Will Quo or Google Voice scale with your needs? Look, if you are just looking for one phone number for yourself as a second phone number for your business, either tool is gonna do great. And if you really don't tie revenue to your phone calls, you don't want to share the number, you don't need anyone else to have access to that number, you don't want AI integrated with that number to be able to answer the call when you can't, then Google Workspace and Google Voice is going to be a great option. In other words, if your needs are basically the most simple version of a phone number just to have it, then Google Workspace is a great choice. But if you want to scale what you're doing, grow your business, empower your team, Quo has features that transform the power of your phone number into a way to scale every aspect of what you do and bring more delight to your customers, to your support, to your onboarding process, whatever it may be. Now, this is going to lead us to core communication, and this section is really important, and you could kind of see from my table here how much Quo does to make phone calls and your business thrive, where Google Voice is just going to really give you a number. Let's talk through this. Now, take a look here on my screen. I think the best way to discuss this is to show you. This is your shared inbox inside of Quo. You first have numbers here on the left-hand side. You have your team, and it shows who's on and who's offline. Then you have your actual conversations that will thread all key elements in one thread. You have phone calls, you have AI summarization, you also have the ability to text, and you also have notes that you could keep within the conversation so the whole team has visibility into the entire thread without having to wait until someone clocks back in or until the next day to check in to see where a conversation left off. And by and far, we are just scratching the surface of what Quo offers. Now, let's take a look at Google Voice's software experience. As you can see here, it is very basic. You have phone calls, text messages, and voicemail. That's basically it. Now, I really wish there were more features I can show off here, but the reality is when it comes to a shared inbox, when it comes to conversation history, when it comes to internal threads and conversation points, where conversations left off, and potentially linking to your CRM, all of this is done inside of Quo. Plus, with the ability to get toll-free numbers, which is really important for business use, as well as international texting and call recording, these features are essential in modern business. So before we go any further, you're getting a sense of who these two tools are built for. Google Voice is really built as a simple Google Workspace add-on for a phone number, and that's it. But with the power of modern technology and what you can do with a phone number, with a good CRM, with internal tracking and teams working together to keep track of phone calls, onboarding, sales process, and everything that makes your business run, this is an essential step of making it a delightful process. The features we're covering right now take everything to the next level, and Quo is innovating in a space that needs it. And just seeing this makes me think that phone calls are making a comeback. Now let's go to the next section, which is going to be AI and automations. Taking a look here, let's start with Quo. With Quo, you get an AI receptionist that they call Sona, and Sona is so powerful. Let me paint a picture for you. It's after hours and you get a phone call from someone who is ready to take action with your business. But when they call, they get a voicemail. But instead, what if they didn't get your voicemail, but they got Sona, your AI receptionist, who is able to take calls on your behalf, answer questions, and also help take next steps by texting a link to your calendar so that person can book time on your calendar to take next steps with your business. You wake up the next day with leads in your calendar rather than looking at voicemails and hoping you could reach the person again. And most likely, they've already gone to another business who was ready to take their call. Some of my favorite features with Sona is the call summaries and the SMS automation. That way you could have specific tasks built that Sona can do for you while you are doing anything else. You could even just be busy on the call with someone else and Sona could answer for you and help the person take next steps to get closer to working with your business. This is where everything levels up and where phone calls are making a comeback because they actually offer way more utility than ever before. Google's strongest AI feature is their spam filter. And if you've never tried this out before and you do want to call Sona, you could call this number right here on my screen and you'll be able to talk to Sona immediately. You could train Sona on as much information as you like, whether it's the content on your website or additional information you provide. And as you see on my screen, you could also build very custom and simple workflows so that when a call comes in, you know exactly where it's going to go and when. Now, by this point, it probably sounds like I'm a bit biased, but the reality is your phone is an important business asset, and the features and skills that it has to perform for you, with you, and help you grow is something that shouldn't be easily overlooked. Now, this leads us to integrations, and this is really important. If one of your core factors with your phone number is going to be how it integrates, you're going to want to consider this component. If you are really focused on your CRM and the experience around your CRM, Quo is going to offer you a lot of native integrations plus Zapier connections that will allow you to build out whatever you need for your CRM. Now, the biggest benefit of Google Voice is its deep integration with your Google Workspace. It doesn't necessarily have a lot of automations, but the good part is you already have your Google Workspace account that you're logged into, and you just would go to a separate tab or a separate link to be able to access it. Now, it doesn't provide a ton of automations, but what it does provide is that when you're logged into your email or your calendar, you could easily access it. But on the flip side, when it comes to Quo, if you do use a CRM, and it's really important for you to be able to manage your relationships effectively through your CRM, Quo is natively going to integrate with the biggest CRMs, and you could also use Zapier to build out connections as well. Now, this becomes a big deciding factor. As you take a look here, the CRM integrations, Zapier or Make or an open API are all not available with Google Voice, where they are a core feature and function of Quo. Now, this leads us to a very important section, pricing, because this is going to be a factor that you're going to want to consider with both tools. Now, to get started with Google Voice, their lowest plan looks a bit cheaper than Quo, but you do need to consider one thing. The starter plan, as you see on my screen, starts at $10 per month for your first line. Now, off the bat, Google Voice is gonna appear cheaper, but the reality is that you will need to pay the $10 a month for Google Voice, as well as an additional $7 per month for your Google Workspace, which generally isn't bad, but when we're comparing it against Quo, it's not $10 for the starter plan with Google Voice and then Quo is $15. It's actually, Quo is a bit cheaper, starting at $15 per month. Now, in comparison, if we just try to compare apples to apples when it comes to your phone number, Quo is offering you way more in terms of the shared inbox and everything we covered in core communication, as well as AI and automations and integrating with other tools. Quo by far is offering way more for a very competitive rate. And not to mention that your initial usage with Sona every single month is included. Up to 1,000 free automation credits is insane. And just to break that down a little bit, 1,000 automation credits would be equal to 10 free Sona answered calls per month, and then above that you just pay per usage, which you could see that breakdown here. And just think about trying to hire a human to do the work that Sona is doing. This is pennies on the dollar. Now let's go to comparing plans again. You'll see the Google Voice plan for standard starts at $20 per month per user, and this is an interesting, what I would call, money grab, because you don't really get a lot more in terms of features, while at the same time, if you do try to have more than 10 users, you're gonna be forced to upgrade to the standard plan. Now, one thing I do want to point out is the standard plan for me is a little confusing. You have to use this if you have more than 10 users. So it is a forced upgrade just by the number of users, where with Quo, you could have 10 or 11 or 100 users on your starter plan. There is no necessary upper limit there, just to force you to pay more. And the last thing I would point out is once you get to the product feel, they're both gonna feel nice. Google products generally feel really good. They're very minimalistic and clean, which means they're easy to use. Same thing with Quo. It's gonna be very easy to get up and running and to use in and out every single day. They both do offer app experiences, so you can take your phone number on the go. Now, if you don't have your answer already, I'm gonna break this down for you in the simplest terms. It is time to go with Quo if you have a team experience where you are going to be sharing numbers, calls, messages, and you want full visibility and accountability into the experience with your phone numbers. Whether that's sales, support, onboarding, or something else, this is going to be a great way for your team to see everything that's happening and not have to let things slip through the cracks before you figure out what is going on. Next, if missing a call is going to miss an opportunity, for example, you are a local plumber, and if I call you and I get voicemail, but I call the next guy and I get answered, and I'm going to go with them because I was able to talk to them right away, that is a missed opportunity, where a system like Quo with Sona as a backup when you're busy or away is a great and undisputed feature that you're going to want to have. Next, if you're going to want to integrate with your CRM, or if you really do want a toll-free number that's important for your business, you're definitely going to want to check out Quo. On the flip side, Google Workspace is a fabulous tool for running your business. So if you just need to add a phone number for a phone call here or there, this is going to be a great and simple way to do it. Don't expect much more than that, but you'll be able to integrate it in and it will all be in your Google Workspace. And as you can see in this list down below of all these industries, these are industries that love Quo. If you fall into any of those categories, I highly recommend getting started with your free 7-day trial with Quo so you can get the experience, test it out, and with that link down below in the description, you'll also get an extra 10% off your first 3 months when you get started. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below, and with that, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.